wanna do, I already done it. And I got your little boo telling me she love me. I got this one, that one, damn, it's gonna be a long night.
Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of This, and I'm back here with another video. And today we are finally getting back into the Mechamaru with this MHA. And by the way, I just want to let y'all know, what if Deku had White Beard's powers? That's on part 5 right now. Yeah, I'm actually doing it, and I'm actually so proud of myself because it's been so hard to actually get into it. But I am, and I'm already past the Forest Lodge, past the license exams. Now we're heading into the near end, of the anime, so I'm gonna go into the manga very soon, so you're welcome. And without any further ado, let's get into the 7th part of the series called Sir, of course referring to Sir Nighteye. Let's begin. So last part, Deku had just gotten out of his little mini coma and soon came back to class, which is now in the dorms and his new home, so that's where he lives now. Then after training with his team, they go take the exams, his little class, they go to exams, and they all pass except Todoroki and Bakugo, but they can make it up, and they're going to. Then after that, Bakugo and Deku kind of make up. They have a little talk, and they reconciliate a little bit, and then the big three visit their class next day and talk about the internships. But this turns into a big fight with Mirio going against 1A. There is when Deku performs the Black Flash by accident, but Mirio, although he couldn't completely beat him, does get his point across to the class. After the big three visit their class, 1A soon goes back to the dorms to choose who they want to work with, and while in his room, Deku calls for Gran Torino, who recommends Sir Nighteye, and this leads Deku to ask All Might if he can let him call Nighteye and connect with him, and All Might sees a certain opportunity to let Deku in on a secret right here. Sorry, but can you come back after school? I'll let you know then, All Might would say. Oh, alright, thank you. Deku then leaves and later comes back to meet All Might in the lounge, and as he opens the door, he sees Mirio and All Might. Hi, sorry about that. Mirio, however, says, nah, don't worry about it, man. Sit down, young Midoriya, All Might would say. Deku then sits by Mirio, and All Might sighs, saying, I need to tell you something about our quirk. Huh, what do you mean by that? Deku would ask. Well, let's start from the beginning. My power is called One for All, and it was handed down to me like a sacred torch. All Might then explains One for All to Deku, and after the explanation is done, All Might asks if he gets it, and Deku says, I pretty much do. So, all for one, this guy tried to take my quirk and said that he couldn't. That's why you called me in? Sorry, but yeah, that's it, All Might would say. Oh, I'm not offended or anything, Deku would say, but I didn't do anything to stop him. I couldn't. I just wanted to get away from him, but I remember being so mad that I was exploding with nothing but anger and fear. You really had it tough, huh, Mirio would say, and Deku says it's fine, but you will of course keep the secret. Thank you, All Might would say, but also, another thing. I heard you did this certain thing in class. It reminded me of All for One. Is there a chance you accidentally stole part of his power? I mean, I hope not, Deku would say, but I get what you mean. When he went to attack, his hand was covered by this black and red thing. It sounds like a bad omen. Isn't there a way to check? Mirio would ask. Shouldn't we be able to somehow, sense his presence, sense the powers attract to each other? All Might then thinks on it, but says he can't really feel anything from Deku, so for now, he simply says to be careful. All for One can power itself on negative emotions, and if it somehow latches onto you, it won't be good. Deku then nods and thanks you for sharing their secret, but says, what about my internship? And Mirio then says, oh yeah, come with me on Saturday, we'll go see Sir Nighteye together. We then cut to Saturday, and Mirio and Deku head to Nightaye's agency, with Deku having the form he needs, and they go up to his office, but as they open the door, they come across a weird scene with Bubble Girl being in a machine that had been named Tickle Hell. Nope. Never mind, this is weird, Deku would say, as he goes to leave, but Mirio then pulls him back in, saying Nighteye is simply a bit peculiar. Hell no, this is some BDSM thing, Deku would say. Sir Nighteye then turns and faces Deku with an intense stare, and the boy wonders what he's thinking about. Who are you? Deku then stops and tries to get away, and said, Deku stops trying to get away at that point and says, I'm Izuku Midoriya, sir. Nighteye, after hearing this, then goes up to Deku, shaking his hand before then going to his desk and sitting down. So, you wish to work under me? Deku then nods and puts his sheet down, that had the contract, and Nighteye looks at it while inspecting Deku, and Mirio is also getting Bubble Girl out of the Tickle Hell. Nighteye then grabs his stamp, and instead of hitting the paper, he actually hits the table, and Deku would say, you missed. No, I just didn't want to sign it. All I get from bringing you in, what can you contribute to society? You have to show me that. At this point, Mirio and Bubble Girl left and let them talk, and Deku says, I can do a lot of things. If I wanted to, I could know everything that's happening in this part of the area. And what is the range of your quirk then? Nighteye would ask. And Deku says, at this point, it definitely covers all of Japan. This is quite impressive to hear, but Nighteye wants to see a more practical use of his powers, and he stands out of his chair as he says, try to take the stamp from me in under 5 minutes, and I'll think about it. Deku then nods, and in this instant, out of the ground crawls out a puppet hound and one normal puppet, and they start to encircle Nighteye. Nighteye looks around and gets on guard, thinking, I can't see their future, but it should be fine if they're linked to my main target. I'll see what happens when they attack. By using his quirk, Nighteye hopes that he will see what the puppets will do, but he can't really see everything. He's not like hoping for a perfect way to see what they're gonna do, but he's hoping for a certain chance. You know what I'm trying to say. But then, out of nowhere, the hound then lunges at him and strikes him in the chest, sending him flying to a wall, while the normal puppet then takes away the stamp, and as Nighteye looks up, he sees Deku is holding the stamp as he walks over to his paper and stamps it himself. Oh, sorry, I assumed he was fine, Deku would say. And Nighteye then stands up, wiping the dust off of himself, and he adjusts his glasses. Squad, alright. I look forward to your work, Mr. Midoriya. So after this, the next day comes, and when Deku starts his internship, he and Mirio are on the lookout for suspicious activity, while Sir and Bubble Girl are also doing the same. And Mirio would ask, "See anything suspicious?" Deku, seeing through the eyes of his many minuscule birds all around, sees nothing suspicious yet and tells Mirio this. Good. Let's stay on guard though, Mirio would say. Deku then nods, and this is when he is hit by something on the leg, and he looks down to see Eri, and Mirio does as well. Deku kneels down asking if she was okay, just as Chisaki then walks out of the alley that Eri had walked out of as well. And Chisaki would say, let's go back, Eri. Deku and Mirio then see the man they're looking for, but keep a stable look. They've been searching for him specifically, and then they ask who this little girl is to him, and he says that he is her father. Oh, sir, your daughter is shaking, Deku says. I just got done scolding her. Is that where the scars come from, Mirio would ask. Chisaki then answers his question with another question. What agency are you two from? We don't need to answer that, Deku would say, but yeah, here's your daughter. Eri with tears in her eyes then leaves, whispering for Deku to save her, and he only answers with a warm smile, and she thinks, they can't tell, can they? Take care, sir, Mirio would say. Chisaki would then leave with Mirio then telling Deku that they should go report this, and this is when Deku says, I did that as soon as I saw his ugly mug. We should go meet up with the other two fast. The two then nod and run off and find Bubble Girl and Sir at some corner, and by this point it starts raining and they start talking, and some of the birds filled Nighteye in on the trouble. And Sir would say, so Chisaki has a daughter? No, it can't be. That kid was acting like she was running away from a stranger, Deku would say. Don't make assumptions, Midoriya. We don't know that yet, Sir would say. And this is when Deku says, I've been through it, sir. I speak from experience. Lightning then strikes with the three then remembering this festival, the festival when Deku showed his scars, and Nighteye pushes up his glasses while clearing his throat. I am not denying your experiences. It's just that we have to assume he's telling the truth. For now. Well, you don't have to wait long. I planted a bug on her. Well, a bird. But yeah, Deku would say. Wait, seriously, Mirio would say? Good going, man. Can you see them? Deku then nods, saying that if he was there right now, where Eri was, he would straight up kill Chisaki, sending chills down the spines of all the heroes. As we then cut to a few hours later, when Eri is sleeping in her room, and she then feels something tap her forehead. She then opens her eyes and sees a puppet bird. What are you? The bird then speaks, saying, it's me, remember my voice? Eri freaks out a bit before then picking up the bird in her hands and asks, this is you? Deku then says no as he's talking to her wall at home, and this is only an avatar of sorts. And Deku is actually not at home, he's talking to Eri through the puppet wall. He is in Nighta's office, and it's a humanoid-ish puppet, it's not actual humanoid, you get what I'm trying to say. And while they're in Nighta's office, they're just recording the conversation as well, and Nighteye would then ask Deku to say, ask her if her and Chisaki are related. Deku then asks her, and Eri says no, saying Chisaki is the worst, and every time she spoke, her voice would break down, showing the fear she was holding deep in her heart, pissing off Mirio, Bubble Girl, and Nighteye, and of course Deku, who was no exception to this. Eri, wait for us, Deku would say. We'll be coming for you soon, okay? In the meantime, I'll be visiting you. Please hurry, Eri would say, and Deku then says yes, saying that if she wanted, she could also keep the puppet, and if it made her more comfortable, she could just keep it the entire time. I heard you say it's cold in your room. It has an AC function. Sleep well. The connection then cuts, and Nighteye then stops recording everything, saying, let's go to work, shall we? In the next few days, heroes work on this together while keeping everyone in check of what's going on and having this little circle. Deku would go to class and do okay, and Kirishima is also going to be in the little operation, and he still gets Red Riot, Unbreakable, and after this, the case of Sun Eater losing his quirk for a while is brought up to Nighteye and gets him more evidence against Chisaki, all the way up until they are ready for the raid. and they stand before the Chisaki building. This all happened in the span of 3 days, by the way, and the heroes find themselves at the Chisaki, mansion, along with the police. So as everyone gathers, the police officers pass out some papers about what they know about the people they may be fighting. Meanwhile, the kids are just getting ready, and Deku stretches a bit when he's approached by Aizawa. Be careful out there. Of course, Deku would say. After this, everyone gets ready, and a police officer, a certain one, goes up and rings the bell of the house. Went to the shock of everyone, a giant Quirkuser just runs out, breaking the gate and sending a police officer flying, and a bunch of them, and they would yell, "What do you want, huh?" For you to shut up, Deku says, as the man is then hit by a blast of cursed energy to the chest, causing him to trip and crash backwards in front of the yard of the house. And as he twitches in pain, unable to get up, Nighteye would then lead an attack as they then enter the house and everyone spreads out. Some people try to get in the way of Night-Eye's group, but Deku knocks them all out with his puppets, which then quickly disappear just as they appear, and they then head inside, and they find a secret passage that leads underground, but are sneak attacked. This is when Bubble Girl, however, takes care of her, showing her skills, and staying back with some police officers to get the criminals in cuffs. Then, as everyone heads down, they run and soon come across a wall. Rocklock would then say, "You didn't mention this, Night-Eye. Are you sure we..." The wall is then knocked down by one kick from Deku, leaving Rocklock impressed. Damn, he's strong for a kid. Good, now we can move on, Mario would say. However, as they look onto the other side, they see it warping and twisting while still somehow staying intact, and one of the officers then says that he recognizes this quirk, and although it's too strong, it makes sense because whoever is doing this probably took a quirk-boosting drug. So annoying. I'm going on ahead, Deku would say. As he says this, he would then partially transform as from his back, then sprout out wings, and he flies down the corridor with Miro then following behind him while phasing in and out of walls. And then as they go, Deku leaves a bird with Night-Eye and would land on Night-Eye's head. Help you follow them for a while, the bird would say. How many things can his quirk do? Rocklock thought. Night-Eye then says to lead the way, but before they all get too far, they all split up and put in their own individual fights. But Night-Eye keeps moving forward. Meanwhile, Deku and Miro find Chisaki living with Eri as one of his henchmen would actually be holding her. Hand her over, you bastard, Deku would demand. And Chisaki would then say, how did you... Before he can even finish his words, however, he hears thumping and looks back to see a puppet having knocked out his henchman and is now holding Eri, as it then opens his mouth and blasts him with cursed energy, which he barely dodges as he rolls into an open area. Not bad, but stop trying to be a hero, Chisaki would say. It won't end well for you. At this moment, they then both feel sluggish, making the puppet Deku made disappear, and as such, Eri is dropped as she then yells for Chisaki to stop, and from above, the two heroes see a man making them feel this way as he will be drinking alcohol, and Deku would say, stop doing that. He then shoots out a small blast, which then strikes him in the stomach, and he would then start to fall, and as he hits the ground, he passes out, and as such, they are now freed from this little hypnotism, and this is when Mira would say, brutal. But where's, you mean Eri? She's right here, Chisaki would say, and he would not be holding her, as Mira would then say, Midoriya, can't you do something? I am doing it, Deku would say. As Chisaki holds Eri, he's then blasted in the face by the bird that Deku left with her, and Miro then uses this chance to come in and kick Chisaki in the face using 30% of his power, which is the full extent he can go without hurting himself, and then he catches Eri just as Chisaki then crashes into a wall, and the bird that Deku made would then disappear. Don't worry, Eri, we got you, Miro would say. Yeah, I'll take care of him, Deku would say. You get her out of here. Miro then nods and tells him to be careful as Deku then walks after Chisaki, who then yells for Eri to come back here, only to be punched in the face by a puppet again and then kicked in the stomach so hard that he coughs up blood. But then he manages to touch this puppet and it explodes, shocking Deku just as Chisaki then slams his hand into the ground, causing it to shake, before then spikes would just erupt out of nowhere, going to stab into Deku. Then he jumps onto the ceiling and just yells, Hellzone Grenade. All over the area come out the heads of puppets who then open their mouths and shoot out massive blasts, and Chisaki tries to hold the blast back with the dome he makes by reconstructing the area. But then an explosion would occur and just blow it all away, and as the dust cloud covers the entire area and Deku was unable to see anything, he would fly up using a Nue puppet since he's trying to be, careful. I can't be anywhere on the ground anymore. This only makes the situation more complicated, he thought. The dust is then blown away, revealing a ruined Chisaki having combined with the earth, and now he has long claws, which then he slams into the ground, causing spikes to stab into Deku from above and from below at the same time. But as the puppet breaks from this, Deku protects himself with cursed energy, before then raising the output, shattering the concrete, and he lands as he then keeps avoiding spikes coming at him. Give back Eri to me, Chisaki would say, and Deku says, how about no? 100%? In one step, Deku then breaks the ground, ripping it up as he appears right in front of Chisaki, and as he strikes with an uppercut, he uses another black flash, punching him up and through the ceiling, but also breaking the armor around his face. And as Chisaki flies into the sky, he bleeds immensely. Deku then disappears and appears right behind him, and he backhands him so hard that he slams right back down into the building and destroys the entire ceiling. As Chisaki lands, he is then unable to move and feels pain all over, and he would think, he's strong as hell. Deku then lands near him, bursting with cursed energy before then dies down, and he says to Chisaki, if I wasn't a hero, you wouldn't be alive right now. He then knocks him out before then grabbing and dragging him across the ground, and then he blasts the spikes in his way. But as he reaches the wall, another one, as he reaches the hall, my bad, another one of Chisaki's men then run up. How did you drop him now? The man then pulls out a gun, filling with what the fuck? The man then pulls out a gun, filling it with quirk erasing bullets. But before he can even shoot, he's then punched in the jaw, getting knocked out by a fully automated Mechamaru, and Deku would then walk past him as they then high five. Pick up the bullets for me, partner. A few minutes later, after walking out, Deku was found by Nighteye and a police officer and some people from the SWAT team, and Deku would say, oh, sir, hi. Midoriya, is that him? Nighteye would ask, and Deku then nods, throwing a knocked out Chisaki in front of the adults, who are amazed, and Deku would say, didn't Mirio tell you I was gonna deal with him? Yes, of course, but regardless, you are a child, Nighteye would say, and Deku then says, is she safe? Nighteye then nods, saying Eri is leaving with an ambulance and Mirio is taking her, so that resolves everything. And as people who work with Chisaki are being taken away, some of the injured heroes like Sun Eater, Kirishima, and Fat Gum are evacuated and being healed, of course. And as everything is getting wrapped up, Uraraka runs up to Deku asking if he was good, and Deku says, of course I am. Oh, by the way, did you see Gran Torino? I could have sworn he was supposed to come with us today. Maybe something else came up, Uraraka would say. Maybe, Deku would say. After this, obviously the Psychi are arrested and Eri is brought to a hospital to rest and be taken care of, while Aizawa is there to keep her quirk cancelled out, and Deku brought the bullets over because he's a G, and they're being studied even more. After this, he then goes and changes out of his costume at the hospital where Eri is, and comes out to be met by Aizawa. He comes out of the bathroom, and Deku would say, Sensei, did something happen? No, I just came to tell you good job. You surpassed my expectations once again. Deku would then say, oh well, we all did it together, but can I get some help? I wanted to meet someone. And Aizawa says sure, and he is told by Deku that he wanted a ride, and so he drives Deku over to a cemetery. And when they enter, Aizawa soon stops, seeing Deku stop at a gravesite that says Inko Midoriya. Who is she? Aizawa asks. My mom, Deku would say. And Aizawa is surprised but says nothing else, only to hear Deku then sniffling, and he says it's okay to not hold it in, but Deku would then let out a tear and say, I know, it's just, I thought I wouldn't need to do this. Jeez, you just can't catch a break, can you? Aizawa would think. He then tells Deku it's okay to be sad, but is it okay for him to be coming here if she abandoned him? And Deku says, I don't care anymore. All kids are born with their parents. I never got to meet mine, so I can't relate. It doesn't hurt as much. Wanna go buy some flowers? Aizawa would ask, and Deku then turns and nods, with Aizawa then saying to come, as he would then pat him on the head, and they go get some flowers, which Deku then lays at her grave, and then he goes back to working with Nighteye, while also visiting Eri from time to time. And Mirio got to keep both his quirks, but Chisaki was still attacked by Shigaraki and lost his hands, so that kind of sucks. But soon things go back to normal and everyone resumes school. And while Deku is a bit sad, he's learned to get through his grief a bit more by sharing with his friends this time instead of bottling it up, and they comfort him because they're friends. Bakugo, Todoroki, and the other people who have to do their makeup exams then finish it, and after that, Deku gets to know Aoyama and comes to like his particular personality, even though it's a bit weird. And then one day in class, as always says, it's time for another festival. The Culture Festival. Something school related again. Nice. Let's go, everyone will be saying as they're excited, but Deku would say, isn't this a bit lax? Villains are on the rise right now. And Kirishima agrees, saying, shouldn't we start training even more? Stories are correct, as I would say, but UA is more than just the heroics department. Everything has been revolving around us, so people have been a bit bothered. Oh, I didn't think of it like that, Kirishima says. And as I always says, that's fine. But more than that, this event is something that includes everyone, so they can be more happy, especially with everything that's been going on. So they have to do their best and make it good. And this makes them all hyped for it because all the other classes get to show something. And it's not just about fighting and stuff like that. So they get filled with creativity. This puts Ida and Momo as the leaders. And they will set up things, take suggestions. And suggestions that are made are a wrestling competition, a dancing show, etc. However, they are not able to come to a consensus during the entire school day. So they come to their living room at their dorm after school to brainstorm, and Ida pulls up his laptop saying, guys, if we can't pick anything, we'll just have to do a lecture or something. And Deku says, well, considering the stress Sensei was talking about, we can't just do something simple. It needs to be something that brings everyone's spirits up. Mina would then say, well, I still think a dancing show would be pretty fun. And this is when this gives Todoroki an idea, and he comes up and borrows Ida's laptop and searches a video of a concert, surprising everyone. And Mineta would then say, Todoroki, I didn't know you were into that stuff. And Todoroki then says, it's just a suggestion from someone in my exam. Just what kind of classes are you? Well, never mind. This is perfect, Sato would say. We can include everyone in it somehow. And Mina then says she can teach everyone to dance. And Deku says, I can make as many puppets as we need for the extra stuff. Kaminari would then say, oh, and Jiro, you can teach us how to do, like, play instruments and stuff. And Jiro was embarrassed by the idea. But after a bit of convincing, they get her to do it, because if she gave up now... So things are put into place, and Deku and Mirio, after visiting Eri, get the idea to bring her over, and Aizawa agrees. But around the next following days, as Deku walks around, a few days later, I'm really confusing this for some reason, he's just walking out a few days later, and he notices people's spirits are actually lower than expected, and he heard people blaming them, but as he looked at them, they turned away, showing they felt guilty for it, but they were against 1A in a sort of way. That's so fucking petty, he thought, but don't worry, we'll give you a performance so awesome you'll never forget it, and you'll forget that anger. Deku then relays what he learned to his class, and they buckle down even more than before, and 3 teams are made. The band, Tokuyami, Bakugo, Momo, Ojiro, and Kaminari. The staging team, with Todoroki, Aoyama, Sero, Koda, Kirishima, and Deku. And then the dancing team, that's Uraka, Aoyama, Mina, Mineta, Ojiro, Shoji, Ida, Sato, and Deku, who can surprisingly dance very well because he's so good at coordinating. Who would have thought? All this effort from 1A and the other classes then culminates in the setup for the Culture Festival, as we then see Eri stepping on the UA grounds days later, and Mirio is of course bringing her over. He says, come on Eri, welcome to UA. Mirio, as he brings her over, sees the 1A class come out, and they meet her, and although frightened at first, she gets to get used to their rowdy personality, and just like that, a week soon passes until the festival day had arrived, and because they needed something, Deku was sent out on an errand. So he gets the necessities, and he's going back to school. He got everything when he accidentally bumps into a disguised Gentle, and Deku would say, oh, my bad. No problems, young man. Let's go, honey, Gentle would say, and as he says this, La Brava gets embarrassed but goes with it. However, Deku then stops and says, you're that guy. La Brava and Gentle get nervous as Deku would then summon Mechamaru, who he would hand the bag to, carrying the stuff, and he says, bring them over real quick, okay, buddy? Mechamaru then nods and runs off as Gentle then quickly uses his quirk, and this makes the air itself bounce Mechamaru back, to the surprise of Deku. I know you, Gentle would say. You're that child from the festival. Sorry, but I can't let you get in my way. Deku, hearing this, then gets more serious as he says for Mechamaru to leave, and as Gentle says it won't work though, Mechamaru bursts with cursed energy and rips through space itself, to the surprise of Gentle and La Brava. Just a bit. Before they can move though, they are shot by cursed energy beams and freeze up as they then fall over. Dang it, Gentle would say. How are you still considered a student? Deku would then walk up and kneel down, because believe it or not, I can be very immature. Leave Yue out of your little scheme. Deku's cursed energy then explodes and it terrifies the two, but then La Brava sees that she can still use her quirk and targets it at Gentle, who then starts to burst with a pink energy, and he forces himself up, causing Deku to back away. Get him, Gentle! La Brava's love would then overflow Gentle with power as he cracks the ground and blitzes Deku, using a punch filled with passion. But that passion is then ripped away, as Deku single-handedly catches his punch, causing the two to be wide-eyed, and he would then say, I don't have time for this. I have no will against you, I have no will ill towards you, just stay out of your way, or I'll kill you. He then twists his wrist and slams him down to the ground, causing the ground to crack and scare La Brava, who can only watch, and Deku would say, don't worry, I won't turn you over to the police. I don't sense any bad energy from you guys, so stay away. You'll only get caught anyway. How are you gonna penetrate UA if you can't get past a student? This saddens Gentle, who then stops struggling, and Deku lets him go, as he then stands up, and he would then come over to La Brava. Deku will go over to La Brava, who he then looks at, and he looks at her for a moment, and he then sees her eyes, which are filled with pure admiration for Gentle and pure love, and he smiles, surprising her. You must really like him. He then touches her on her back and fills her body with cursed energy, and this allows her to move as he took away the effects of that blast, and he would then say, Deku would say, oh, that actually worked. He then stood up and started walking away, saying, seriously, if you step even 1 meter close to UA, my puppets will mess your shit up. so don't make me. He then bursts with cursed energy and runs away, and he is heading to UA, while Gendo and La Brava had to find something else to do, since they know one thing: that kid wasn't like wrong. They had no chance if they can stop him. So after returning to the school, One is amazed at the classes that hated them were putting on a smile after seeing the performance, and they were just like feeling so good. And this also put a smile on Erie's face, and Deku contributed it differently by using his bird puppets to fly out from different shapes, and he also had Mechamaru flip Aoyama. It was just epic. Like, they had an awesome ceremony, a festival. And after this, Irie then goes to eat caramel apple and enjoyed herself. And this is around the same time when November was rolling in, and trees were losing leaves, and it was getting colder. And Irie was going to be taking care of Yue by this point. As a matter of fact, she was living in around the dorm at this point. And as the cold rolls in, everyone is at the dorm enjoying hot cocoa and in the living room. And Irie would then say, Mechamaru? Deku would then say, you can just call me Izuku, you know. Really? I like Mechamaru. She then gets sad with Deku then saying she can call him Mechamaru, making everyone laugh, as she then asks if he was still doing hero stuff. Yeah, look, Kirishima would say, as he then walks up showing on the news that there was something about Deku and Mira busting some villains robbing a bank. Ooh, Izuku, you're getting famous now, Uraraka would say. And Deku would say, I wouldn't go that far, but working for Sir would give me a lot more attention, obviously. Aren't you working for Hawks though, Tokuyama would say? And Tokuyama would then nod, saying, it's been a lot of fun. He understands me a lot, but I doubt it'd have as much on me on the news as much as you do. As he says this, Ida then looked and said that they had guests, just as the Wild Wild Pussycats then walked in, posing and not being in their hero costumes, being in their civilian attire. And then the students would then say, it's been a while, and they would run up, and the Pussycats would come with presents for, well, the students. And this is when Tiger would then apologize to Deku for not being able to protect them at that moment at the Forest Lodge. And Deku would then say, nah, no, he was worrying over all stuff, right? We're all still here. Tiger then smiles at this, saying it's good that he's okay, and then Deku would see Koda and wave to him, asking how he's been, as he would walk up with Irie, and Koda would shyly say that he was doing okay. Hey Irie, this is Koda. I saved him just like I did for you. Irie would then walk up and reach her hand out, saying, I heard you're supposed to do this when you meet friends. Friends? I just met you though, Koda would say. Oh, okay. Irie would say, as she then looks visibly sad, and feeling bad, Koda would then grab and shake her hand, making Irie smile, which in turn made him blush. And everyone then gets to know each other, and this is when Mendeley pulls Deku over, pointing to Koda's shoes. Deku would then laugh at this since they're exactly like his, and he says, looks like I got to meet my first fan, huh? Mendeley would then say, good work by the way, you've been getting some hits in, haven't you? Just doing my best, Deku would say. It's safe to say that the group had a lot of fun that night, and then after they had their little fun, soon come the next hero rankings, which officially signified Endeavor as the #1 hero. But what followed after was something that would test whether or not he truly deserved it. And one day, as Todoroki walks out and down to the living room in the dorm the next day, he hears Momo call him over. What's wrong, guy? Todoroki would ask, and this is when Deku would say, look. And Todoroki looks on TV to see Endeavor on the verge of death while being approached by a high-end Nomu. The city was panicking while Endeavor seemed to be barely pushing through, but he is not giving up, and neither is Hawks. And Endeavor, in an act of awesomeness, uses his strongest eminent prominence burn, and burns through the high-end Nomu to a crisp. And even after all of that, he still stood and pumped his fist into the air, reminiscent of when all might be all for one. And as his blood trickled down his face, he did not falter and showed he was #1. I hope you're watching me, all of you. Shoto, Natsu, Fuyumi, Rei, Endeavor thought. And as he wins, everyone cheers for him, and Todoroki would sigh in relief while everyone comforted him, and they just say that they're happy he's okay. And this is when they actually hear something that would shake them. Oh wait, a new villain has arrived. And Todoroki would then say, what? Now of all times? On the scene then arrives Dabi, who fills the air with fire and encircles the heroes in his kind of territory and does not allow them to leave. And Hawks will then come over helping Endeavor, who says, it's you. I heard you killed Snatch, Dabi from the League of Villains, right? However, he then falls over from being in pain. Hawks does, and the heroes don't really know what to do because they can't close in and the fire is too hot. This is when Dabi actually takes his chance to attack, only for Miriko to then step in as she bursts through the fire and with a kick, a devastating kick, which Dabi barely manages to dodge. It was too impulsive. Fine, another time, Benji Todoroki, Dabi would say. And Miriko would then say, why don't you stay around and finish what you started? Miriko then attacks Dabi, but he would then be taken away by a weird portal, and Miriko would then miss, saying, coward. What the hell was he thinking? Hawks would think. After this, the flames would then disappear, and it is told to everyone what had happened, that everything was taken care of, but everyone is, of course, on edge because this came out of nowhere. Now we will do a little time skip. We actually cut to All For One. His hands are shaking, he feels drained, and he is locked up in Tartarus, and he realizes something is wrong with All For One. He did do something to me. I thought it was minuscule, but my connection with Shigaraki. I can't feel it anymore, but I can feel him taking it. Izuku Midoriya, what have you done to me? How is Deku affecting All For One? Will the villains have a way to pick themselves back up? Find out in the upcoming parts. It's been your boy, Prince of Letters, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry about the stuttering. Welcome to the end of the video, and I again apologize for my stuttering a little bit. I'm not used to doing this little series no more. It is still dope, but I wrote it a long time ago, so for me, myself, like, it just feels weird to be doing it now and finally be close to finish it. But I hope you enjoyed this part and enjoy how much work I put in. And yeah, that's about it. Oh, what if Asta was Itachi's reincarnation is coming up next, and that part will be the finale. So yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you to the person who I rudely interrupted to just let me record, because we're like next to each other now. Someone else moved into the house for now. It's my cousin's brother. He came here to stay. I feel really awkward about asking him to stay quiet while I do this, so y'all can thank him as well. And that is all. And also about the background noise, I apologize for that. But I hope you did enjoy this, and have a safe day, and tell me how you're doing down in the comments. This will be it. Until next time, peace.
Would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought this moment could be ours. While I'm walking on